Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Um, oh, okay. So, sorry. Oh, I'm a little nervous. um, so, my title today is How Holy Mother Han Has Impacted My Life. Um, I was actually preparing a different sermon today related to this, but I changed it yesterday. So, yes. But before I go into it, I'm just gonna introduce myself a little bit. Like, like Anthony said, I'm pretty new. So, anyways, I'm from New York originally. I grew up in Queens, um, and yeah, I live in that circle area over there. And then I was born on April 7th, 2000. Yes, I have a lot of hair in that picture. And I'm the second daughter of my parents, who are also here, who just moved. I'm a student at UNLV in Las Vegas. I study business management. And I just got Blessed David this year. Ooh. Yes, so that's a little bit about me. Oh, also, I moved to Las Vegas. I did GPA for 3 years, and then I moved to Las Vegas right after, and I lived there for 4, and then I just moved here. So I moved around a few times, but now I'm in Ohio. So thank you for welcoming me. So yes, this sermon or this, I think it's more of a testimony than it is sermon. Um, yeah, I was inspired about maybe like a month and a half ago to I was just thinking, oh, someone should talk about true parents and true parents' accomplishments, and I was like, oh, well, I'm thinking about it, so maybe I should give it. And I told Pastor Gloria a couple weeks ago, and then she was like, oh, great, we have a speaker. um, so yeah, there's more that I wanted to talk about today, but I think I decided I'm just gonna talk about my testimony and share my testimony. So yes. I wanted to mention or share about my how my relationship with God and with true parents grew in my life. Um, so I mentioned I lived in New York, and I attended a lot of youth workshops and camps and youth ministry, and I think youth ministry really supported me in my excuse me, in my growth in my life of faith. So yeah, what Tim and Precious and you guys are doing in youth ministry is very important, by the way. Um, and so I attended different workshops uh, when I was young, and yeah, I think at some point when I always believed in God growing up, and I would say I think I had a personal relationship with God, and um, but when I was in maybe in like middle school, high school, maybe one more, I was when I was in high school, I started to question a lot more, and I became more curious, and so yeah, I guess I wondered like, what is it that we actually believe in? Like we teach divine principle, and we have our movement, and there's a lot of different things that are said about our church in the media, and uh, yeah, I was curious and I had questions, and um, I really, I remember one time I was praying and I told God, I was like, there's all these divine principle workshops for older people, but there are none for young people. And this was like when I was like 17, no, 16. And then later that year in the spring, there just happened to be a divine principle workshop in Maryland. So I went with some other people, and I was pretty shy. I'm a pretty reserved person actually, and so in high school I didn't really have a lot. Oh wait, good. We'll go back. Oh no. Okay. I didn't have a lot of close friends, but I went anyway because I felt like I was seeking something. Sorry, I should stop doing that. I was seeking something. I had questions, and so I went. And actually, during this workshop, how do you do that? This way? Okay. Anyways, this workshop, uh, the middle. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Great, yes. This workshop, so like I said, I had always believed in God, but it was my first time hearing about God's heart. was like, oh, what's that? God's heart? And yeah, the lecturer was Jerry Servito. I don't know if you guys know him, but he he spoke and he gave the lectures during that weekend. And yeah, I was really struck by this concept of God's heart. Like, what's God's heart? I didn't know God had a heart. I think it was very open. It opened my mind a lot. And then he talked about God's heart of joy and God's heart of sorrow and God's heart of hope for the future. And that was, I think that was a big, I guess, turning point maybe in my relationship with God. And that's really when I started to, yeah, want to grow even more in my relationship. And so, and then this workshop, so yeah, that was in 2017. And then later that year, they had a 2-week workshop and 2-week divine principle workshop, and that was like a lot more in depth with our teachings and our movement. And I yeah, I still had questions, and I wasn't so sure about True Parents still at that time, but I felt like, oh, this is something that I'm learning a lot from, and some of my questions are being answered. And so, and then later that year, so this is junior year of high school, when, you juniors are really trying to get into college and send in their SATs and things like that. And I went to a very college-focused high school in New York. Yeah, yeah, I went to school with a lot of smart people. And so everyone's focus was, okay, we have to get, like a 4, or, it wasn't 4.0, but like, anyways, yeah, we had to get good grades and then, apply to the best colleges and things like this. And so I was also in that same mindset, right? And I hung out with people who were just focused on school and things like that. But I think when I was a junior or senior, I was kind of just thinking like, I could go to college, I can get good grades, I can, get a good job, make good money, and then what? Like, and then what? I don't know. I was kind of like unsatisfied. I mean, not that, that's not a bad thing at all. I think everyone has different, and successful lives, but I just felt like I just felt like, oh, there's something more to life than just this. I don't know. I felt like I wanted something more. And so, yeah, during my senior year, I decided that I wanted to take a gap year. And yeah, when I was still in high school, they had NGM or GPA, the young adult youth program, but they also had Europe STF, which is another program, but in Europe. And then there's another program called NGA, and then there's another program called DONE. Anyways, there's a bunch of different ones, and I was thinking about, oh, which one should I do? Because I want to take a gap year, but I don't know which one. And then eventually I decided on GPA, and yeah, so that was my senior year. And then this is a workshop right after I graduated high school in Korea. We have the Chombo Training Center. It's a retreat site in Korea, if you know about it. And I attended an international workshop. So this was my first time meeting people from our community from other countries. And I was like, whoa, like, that's so amazing. Like, I only know people from New York and New Jersey, but this is the first time that I realized how big our community is, from England, from Australia, from, I forgot where everyone else is from, but yeah. And during this workshop was the first time I heard about True Parents Life course. And it was very long. There's a lot of lectures, there was a lot of content, and it was too much actually. But it was the first time I learned about, oh, this is what True Parents or Father, Mother Moon, this is what they went through in their life. And why is this important? And why are we learning about this? So yeah, that was kind of maybe the beginning point of my relationship with True Parents, even though I still didn't connect really at all. But fast forward, I went to GPA, which is Generation Peace Academy. Now it's called Next Gen Missions. But basically, if you don't know, it's a faith-based program for young adults right after high school to work on their faith, but also their leadership, their character, through fundraising, through different service projects, retreats. And I ended up doing 3 years, actually. My plan was just to do 1 and then go to college and then maybe go to graduate school. But I changed my mind and I did 3. And yeah, really during this time, The main reason I went was because I wanted to deepen my relationship with God. And I was, like I said, I wasn't really satisfied. Like I could live a good life, but then what? Like I don't know. I wasn't really satisfied with that. So I went and, I deepened my relationship with God. This idea of God's heart like became more of a reality to me through the people that I met and through the experiences that I had. And yeah, it was really a life-changing, I would say, experience for me these 3 years. And my second year, I was a team leader. I was a captain, and so I was like a leader for the other young adults. They're only like a year or two younger than me, right? But somehow I have to lead them and drive a van and like take care of them and feed them and all these things. It's a lot of work, by the way. But during this time, I think I learned a lot of what it means to have a really serving heart and giving heart towards other people. And yeah, I basically grew up as an only child. My sister passed when I was 8, and so growing up it was just me. And so it's learning like how to take care of your siblings. Like that's not really something I grew up with, and I wasn't experienced with. So during the second year when I was a team leader, I was really confronted with, oh, like I'm actually really selfish. Like I don't know how to take care of other people. Like I was really confronted with myself, which is really good because I think there comes a time in your life or multiple times in your lives maybe where you're faced with, oh, this is the reality of me. Like this is where I'm at in my life and I want to change. I want to grow. And so that's kind of the point in my life where I really felt, oh, okay, I have so much more to grow in my life. Yeah. And then this is my third year. This is a third year team. We were in Las Vegas actually for 2 months to do mission work because it was during COVID and we couldn't go overseas. But yeah, that was also a very growing experience for me. And I'm not going to share so much, but okay. And let's see. Oh, also during this time, it was around 2019, 2020 was around this time. And Mother Moon, she was doing a world tour and she visited South Africa. She visited Japan, Korea, and so many other countries. She did a speaking tour. And also around this time was when there are different peace rallies are happening in America in our movement. And so because of that, that also kind of GPA is focused on, growing your faith and understanding God, but also true parents. And so this is really the beginning point of my my growth, my development in my relationship with true parents. Like, who are true parents? Like, they're, especially for, the people who grew up in this movement, in this church, we see just pictures of true parents on the wall, right? And it's like, oh, I don't really connect, and I've never met them before, and, it's hard to really have a relationship with somebody that you've never really met in person, right? And, I think a lot of our parents, or a lot of also the older generation members here, you were inspired by the divine principle, or you met your parents in person and you joined and all these things and you have more maybe personal connection. But for us, we didn't really have so much. And so, I realized like for the longest time, I was like, oh, like why do I need a relationship with true parents? Like I have a relationship with God. Like I don't need to work on my relationship with true parents, And so, I guess in some sense, I kind of still thought that way around this time, but it really opened maybe more of my curiosity too about who are these people that we're always talking about, Like why are they so important? And I think this maybe having a more curious mind, an open mind is what allowed me to continue growing in my faith. And so after my third year of GPA, I moved to Las Vegas. I moved to Las Vegas, and there is a CARP house or CARP center there. If you don't know what CARP is, it's Collegiate Association for the Research of Principles. And basically, it's a student organization, student ministry on campus. And this was also founded by Father and Mother Moon, true parents, a long time ago. But I moved to Las Vegas because I was there for my third year of GPA, and I really felt like, oh, this is an environment where I want to be. I want to be to continuously grow in my life, in my faith. And I think having the right environment is also very important. And that's why we have community, right? Community is to create the environment for us to continue in our faith, in our life, and support each other. And so I moved to Las Vegas, and I was there for 4 years. Um, I, yeah, I supported a lot of, I guess, mission work or witnessing activities and community activities I did there. And this was also during a time where like Las Vegas is kind of the center, like they call it the center, the spiritual headquarters of our movement in America. And yeah, basically, a big reason for this is because True Parents really invested a lot of time there in Las Vegas, especially before True Father passed in 2012. And there's a lot of, how do you say, spiritual works going on there. And so because of that, I received a lot of updates like, oh, what's going on with our movement, what's going on with Mother Moon in Korea and all these things. And so it was really, how do I say, the best environment maybe for my relationship with God, but also with True Parents. And my time in CARP, Las Vegas, we did a lot of like individual studies of divine principle and workshops, and we did a lot. We did a lot of different things. It was always very busy. Plus, I was a student too, and yeah. But during this time, I think what I gained really was the importance of relationships, like my relationship with God, but also my relationship with True Parents, but also my relationship with other people. Like, I realized relationships, having good relationships with your brothers, with your sisters, with your family, with your parents, like that's all, it's important, you know? You can't just focus on your relationship with just God and your parents, but also your relationships with other people. And I came to value that more during my time here. And yeah, I think my time in CARP is really, oh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, it was really a precious time. I think, you know, GPA was kind of like I was planting seeds for my faith. And then CARP was really when like that seed became a sprout and then kind of grew and it blossomed. And so I would say that, yeah, it was really this time that I really became more, I took more ownership, I guess, more initiative in my life of faith, but also my relationship with True Parents. And this was also a time where I answered, for me, like, why do I need True Parents, even though I already have a relationship with God? Like, this was during the time that I figured that out for myself. And, sorry, I need to get my notes. Yes. Okay. And then so I did 2.5 years, or I stayed there. There's a CARP center where I stayed there for 2.5 years. And then I moved out, but I was still in Las Vegas for about a year or so. And during that time, okay. So this whole, you know, I'm talking about how my relationship with God, with True Parents grew, right? And so even though I wasn't on a program anymore and I moved out of the CARP house, I was still growing in my relationship. And yeah, I was supposed to put a picture there, but I couldn't find one. So eventually, at some point, I will show a picture later. But the Chonchimwon, this is our prayer hall that we have also here in Ohio Family Church. But in Las Vegas is where it started, or in America it started. And Chonchimwon, basically it means the garden of God's heart. And this prayer room was established by True Parents, by Mother, actually. And she said this is our last gift to America. And, you know, maybe you're thinking like, how can a prayer room be a gift? I don't really get it. But for me personally, it became really a gift in my life. And so basically the Chonchimwon, I should have put a map, but the one in Las Vegas, it's like here, it's on Haven Street. And then where I lived was like here. So you just walk 2 minutes and you get to pray. And so for me, it was always like, no matter what I was going through challenges with school or with relationships in the CARP house or in my life. And I like to pray with just me. I don't like praying with other people. and so I would just walk to the Chonchimwon and I would pray. And I'd have the whole room to myself. And I mean, yes, other people come in and out, but like it was just me. And it became such a personal and intimate place to me where I could just talk to God freely. I could just be there and I could talk with God, and I can, you know, and it's such a holy place. This room is such a holy place, right? And the whole purpose is to connect with Heavenly Parent's heart directly. And, you know, this might seem like an abstract, like what does that mean? Like abstract concept, right? But for me, it became a very personal connection with this room because I could connect with God and with true parents in such a deep way. And so this was how I continued to grow in my faith. And yeah, I have a few testimonies about this, and then I attended a workshop later, which I'll show. But yeah, this room is really precious to me, especially the one in Las Vegas. Of course, Ohio is great too, but I think especially the one in Las Vegas, I really, yeah, I would say it was really a gift. Like it really saved me a lot in the times that I was really struggling because of this room that I went to pray in, and that God really cared for and loved me there, is what I would say. Okay, so I was, I'm a pretty active person. I like doing stuff. So I attended a 40-day workshop here. This is a second spiritual workshop in Las Vegas. Yes, that's why I'm wearing a purple jacket. Yeah, and then these are some members from Korea who came for this workshop, and we were, what were we doing? Well, we were witnessing on in the mall, I think. Yeah, we were asking people questions and inviting them to different events. And then this is a team of missionaries from Korea that I led in March of this year. And yeah, that's my certificate. And then I have a picture of my blessing later, but this is also, I think you know some of these people, Josh, Muki, Seiji, Yoshie, and then me, David, and then Toshi and I. So we all got blessed the same year. These are a group of some of my friends. And yeah, I put that picture in there because I think the blessing is also a continuous part of growing in your faith and growing in your relationships with God and with your parents. And I think the beautiful thing, I'll get to this later, but I just wanted to mention that, when you get married and when you get blessed with other people who are in your community and who are striving for the same vision and the same ideal, it's beautiful. Like, yeah, I was so happy to be able to get married with these people. Like, I did GPA with him for 3 years, both of these two. No, actually, he did 2 years. And then, I met Sanai about a year or two ago. Anyways, it's just a beautiful thing to be able to get blessed and married with the people that you either grew up with or you shared experiences with. And so, okay. I have until what time? Okay. Great. So, yes. So that's kind of my journey, and it still continues now as I'm blessed now to David here. And but I wanted to share a few things that Mother helped me realize in my life, and I wanted to share these because it changed my perspective in life or my mindset. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing that Mother helped me realize was that God is our heavenly parent. And this was such a big, maybe for us it feels like it's natural, right? God is our heavenly parent. But, maybe for some people you don't feel that way. I'm not sure. But, with Mother's teaching and what she has revealed is that God is not just a heavenly father, but heavenly mother as well. And not that there's two gods, there's only one. But God has both father and motherly aspect. And that's why we call God heavenly parent. And this is something that I think for me, it was a natural thing because since I started my faith journey, I already knew about this. But I think the more I was thinking about, like, why is this important to me, is because I think this also changed the way that I view men and women. Like, we're not, like, women are not just, an addition to men that God created, right? Like, women are of equal value. Like, we're different. We have different qualities. We, think differently. I'm learning that now after I got married. But we're equal. We're equal in value, and God really values us the same. And, something I really appreciate about Mother is that she she is, she really embodies this. And she really leads with the heart of a mother, a heart of a woman in true leadership. And so when I look at her, I really think like, oh, like this is really an example of somebody who has true female leadership. And I look up to that, right? I'm a woman and I've been in leadership positions before. And so having somebody to look up to in that way was really important to me. Um, yeah. And what's interesting is that, you know, I've done a couple part-times and internships the past couple of years. And then also the people that I worked under in the church, like who've been a mentor position to me, or they've all been women, like all these people that I worked with the past 4 years. It's so interesting. Like my CARP director in Las Vegas, she was a woman. And then my part-time, like a year ago, she's like my manager, she's also a woman. And my internship, like all these, the past 4 years has always been women in my life leading me. And, you know, when I was preparing for this presentation, I was like, oh, that's so funny. Like, that's so interesting. And, you know, I really feel like God, you know, gives us experiences that we need and puts people in our life that we need at certain times. And I really think that, you know, God has been really raising me with this female leadership. And under Mother, who's leading our movement and leading, you know, this cause of trying to build a world of peace, I really think that, yeah, like God has really been guiding me to be able to see women leadership in this age. So that's one point. The second point that Mother helped me realize is about this only begotten daughter. And this is something that, you know, only in the past, 10 years, 13 years has been revealed. And, you know, maybe this is your first time hearing this phrase, maybe it's not, but, you know, it really hit me like about a year and a half ago. I was attending a workshop, and then this person was giving a lecture, and then, you know, there's like this diagram of like, there's like God, and then there's man, woman, and then there's family, and then, you know, yeah, that's, anyways, if you know, you know. But like, I think during that time, it really hit me like, oh, like God wanted a daughter who could grow to maturity, full maturity, become one in heart with him and her. But that never happened. That never happened. And we didn't see an example of a woman a daughter who is really and fully united in heart with God. Like we see that in Jesus, right? Jesus became fully mature. He became one with God. He became the embodiment of Heavenly Father, right? And because of Jesus, we have this 2,000 year of Christian history and has impacted the world in so many ways. But we don't see an example of a woman, a daughter who is one with God. And that's what this means. Like I realized, oh, that's what this means. Only begotten daughter. It means God's daughter who is one with Heavenly Parent, one in heart with God, and who after, you know, this was originally the ideal. From the very beginning, God wanted, you know, both a daughter and a son to be able to become one with him and become true parent, to become a parent to humankind, right? You can't be a parent if you don't have kids. And so this is the original intention that God had from the very beginning. And so during this lecture, it hit me. I was like, oh, this is like, when she says she's the only begotten daughter, you know, I'm going to go back to this point. But I realized, oh, this is her. Like the person that God has been trying to send and who has been hoping to raise to become one with him. Oh, it's her. It's Mother. It's Mother Hak Ja Han that we follow in our movement. I was like, oh my God, it hit me like a brick. And then I went to pray because I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a big realization. And yeah, and so, you know, going back to this point of only begotten daughter, like I realized, like, why does she always talk about this? She says, I'm the only begotten daughter, I'm the Holy Mother Han. You know, if you've listened to her speeches, or if you've watched any of her speeches, you'll hear her say this many, 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 many times. And it's like, oh, why does she keep saying the same thing? It's because we don't understand that who she is. Like when someone repeats the same thing is because they're trying to make the same point, right? they're trying to make the same point come across. And during my 40-day workshop, I realized like when she says only begotten daughter, she's really talking about Heavenly Mother that's hidden behind Heavenly Father. She's talking about the motherly heart of God that we haven't known for the past thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And so she doesn't say this to just glorify herself. She says this so that we can understand who God is as Heavenly Parent. And so, you know, yeah, like I said, to me, this seems like a natural thing. It's like, oh, I have a mom and a dad. Like, of course, God has both mother and fatherly aspect, right, in their heart. But I think for many, many years, thousands of years, we've only known God as our Father. And, you know, in that sense, I think there's been a lot of, I think history kind of unfolded in a way that maybe wasn't God's plan. But I think knowing that God is our Heavenly Parent really gives me hope, especially as a woman, gives me hope that, you know, like how we've been living in our life in, you know, in the past history, like there's so much more to God than just father. There's so much more to leadership than just having a male dominated figure for the entire course of human history. And so I think this really, you know, brings hope to me, but also, once again, you know, the whole reason I'm giving this sermon is because I wanted to share about my relationship with true parents, with mother specifically, and testify to her and who she is. And yeah, I think, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, yes, that's the point I wanted to make. And then the last point was about God's dream. What mother helped me realize was about God's dream. And does anyone know what God's dream is? Yes, thank you. Yes, one family. And that's the whole purpose of why True Parents started their work here on this earth, is because God's dream is to create one family under God, to create the kingdom of heaven on this earth. And what does that look like, right? Like, we can't really imagine, right? Because this world is so chaotic and there's so many things going on. But, you know, God's vision was to be our parent, to be true parent to us, his and her children, and live together as a family. And it's such a simple vision, right? But it's like, how does that happen? Like, there's 8 billion people. How can everyone be a family? Like, I don't know. These are the thoughts that come in my head when I think about this. But, you know, this is God's dream, God's vision for the world from the very beginning. And, you know, True Parents have been trying to fulfill this dream for the past 60 years? 70 years, thank you. 70 years. And, you know, maybe this seems conceptual to you. And so I wanted to share a little bit more about how True Parents striving towards God's dream has impacted my life. Yes, it's a testimony. So the first is my parents' marriage blessing. So those are my parents over there. Yes, thank you. Give them a round of applause. So my parents received the marriage blessing on August 25th, 1992. It's so interesting because David's birthday is on August 25th. Isn't that so funny? Okay, anyways. So 30,000 couples received the marriage blessing from True Parents at this time. And, you know, it's this huge stadium in Korea. It's gigantic. And I don't know if my parents remember their blessing on that day. But there's a lot of people, as you can see. I mean, I wasn't there, right? But it's the Olympic Stadium in South Korea. And this is when, I believe it's the first international blessed couples blessing. No, okay, never mind. But there's a lot of couples that were from different countries, and they received the marriage blessing. So my dad is Filipino, my mom is Japanese, and these are relatively, or so-called enemy nations, historically. And so, you know, True Parents' vision was to bring together people from different cultures and nations and backgrounds and religions so that they come together and they can create peace first in their family. And then when you have like thousands and thousands and thousands of couples like that, ideally, it's a whole world of ideal loving families, right? So this is the idea. And all these people, like my parents, I have some notes. My parents are very different people. I know they're here. Sorry, I'm not trying to expose you, but but they're very different people. And yeah, they didn't always agree on everything. But what's so interesting was that, like, I always wondered. I was like, how did not how did they stay married? But like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm trying to make the point that like my parents are very different people, and like I just doesn't make any like sense, like, and and so one time I think I asked my dad, I forgot who I asked. I asked one of my parents, like, why did you receive the blessing, a long time ago? Um, and then something I think my dad mentioned was like, oh, because I wanted to help create God's family on this earth. And I was like, oh, really? Interesting. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but okay. And, even though my parents spoke different languages, even though they're from different countries and from different cultures, and they think differently. They're man and woman, so they're completely different also. And even though there's so many differences, like they still came together in marriage, in oneness, in love, and they're still the past 30 something years they've been working out their differences. They've been trying to accept each other, and you know. But really, when I see them as a child, I really see that, like, even though it was hard, maybe at some times, like they're really doing their best to create this vision of this world of peace that they envisioned, that True Parents was teaching about. Like they wanted to create it in their own family, and yeah. Hmm. And I guess a fruit of that is like a selfless marriage and selfless love. They didn't get married just because they fell in love and they wanted to live happily ever after, but they got married because they believed in this vision for creating a world of peace. And that's not an easy thing, right? Like it's not an easy thing. Like they gave the decision of who they're going to marry to True Parents and to God, because they believe God is working through them. And it's really, when I think of like the older, members in our movement, also those who are here, I think you've sacrificed a lot that I don't know about, right? You've sacrificed so much more in your life. And, when I think about that, I really feel a lot of gratitude, and also gratitude to my parents, because, if it wasn't for my parents' marriage, but there are sacrifices and the experiences that they had gone through, like I wouldn't be here. But also I wouldn't have received the marriage blessing myself. And yeah, I guess, I'm talking about what mother helped me realize in my life and how does it impact me, right? And this is a different testimony by itself, how I got blessed to David. But I think I'm still trying to understand. Like your parents say that marriage is so that we can resemble God, right? God is both masculine and feminine, and we are man and woman, right? We're meant to resemble God in our marriage. And we've only been married for what? 8 months? Yeah. It has not been a long time. And so I've been trying to figure this out. Like what does that mean, Like what does it mean to see God in your spouse? Like what does it mean to resemble God through our marriage? And I would say I think we're doing a good job, right? Thank you. um, we're not perfect and we don't agree on a lot of some things, but I think that we're doing our best, right, to, I don't know, create God's family. And yeah, I just wanted to share this picture. This is Karen David's younger sister who also got blessed this year, and then her parents, and there's Stephen. He's in a different room, and then my parents. And so I think through my own marriage blessing, I could also see, in general, marriage is also just coming together two different families, and yeah, but I also see even more like, David's parents are Korean and Japanese. My parents are Japanese and Filipino, and there's even more cultures, even more backgrounds and nations that are coming together in one family. And I think this is really what God envisions. God envisions really the whole world to just live together in oneness with peace as a family, right? Thank you. And I'm starting to see that in my own marriage blessing. And so this is a picture from April 30th, 2022. I was still in Las Vegas, and mother, she's right here in her cute pink sweater. She came to Las Vegas to establish the Chonchimon that I mentioned earlier, the prayer hall. And I just happened to be very lucky to be still in CARP at that time. My CARP director has connections, and she knows the leaders and things like that. So she was like, "Oh, like Reverend Du, he was the pastor of Las Vegas at the time, and he told Makiko-san, our CARP director, he was like, "Oh, come get the CARP members and prepare, or like get dressed up and wait at the this is the, what's it called? This is a driveway, but they renovated it into a youth center at the time before it became a cafeteria." And he was like, "Oh, just come, and mother's coming soon." And we were like, "What?" And then so we all got dressed up, and we were waiting for like 2 hours. We were all sitting in this actually, we're not supposed to be there technically, but Reverend Du told us to come, so we came. And we all got dressed up. We were waiting for 2 hours. And then finally mother came. She pulls up in this, I think it was white. There's like this white big car, like those really rich people, they have really nice cars. It's like one of those cars. Like she came out, and then we all stood up and we all greeted her. We're like, "Wow," and then clapping. And then she goes inside this building, which is True Parents' main house, and that's where currently the Chonchimon, the prayer hall, is. And so she goes in here, and she's there for like an hour and a half. She's praying and she's talking to the leaders. And so we're just waiting. We're here in this garage, and I'm like, "Oh my God, like, what are we gonna, And then eventually she comes out, and this is Yonanim, Hyojin's wife, and then I forget her name, but she's one of Hwayanim. Yes, she's Kwonjinim's wife, one of her children's wife. Anyways, they live in Las Vegas, and so they were there. This is Reverend Dr. Young, who is our leader in America for some time, and Reverend Du, and then mother, and then the rest are, this is Dr. Kim, and then these are CARP member, and then that's our CARP director's son who wanted to be there that day. And then, so she came out, and she spoke to us for like 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. It was very short, and she spoke in Korean, and none of us know Korean, unfortunately. But Dr. Kim translated, and the one thing that I still remember to this day that she said to us was that you are the last generation to attend True Parents, is what she told us. And as I look at this picture, I think like, like it's such a, it's just one sentence, but it really hits me because, True Parents are only here for, we don't know how long, how much longer. Mother's already 83, and now she's in the cell, and her physical health is not so good. And, this was 3.5 years ago when she told this to us. And it made me think like, oh, like, I mean, that's true. Like when I have kids in the future, like mother's not going to be here anymore. Like my grandkids, they're not going to meet her. They're not going to meet True Parents. And so, yeah, that really, at the time I kind of just took it as it is. But I think throughout the past couple of years, sometimes people, or I have one friend who asked me, like, he was like, "Do you remember what she said at that time?" Because he was also there. And then I was like, "Yeah, this is what," and then I texted him, and then I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I was reminded of this what she said again in this one sentence. Um, yeah, and this word attend, I don't have it. I don't have a slide for it, but I was always like, what does that mean to attend? Attend, like attendance. I think, yeah, it's such a, maybe it's more of like a Korean phrase term than in English. But, I think since then I've also been trying to think like, how do I attend? Like, how do I attend true parents? How do I attend mother? Like, I want to do something, and that kind of goes to this next point of what I realized. In all of this, I realized that, we call her mother, we call her omoni, we call her, many words, Holy Mother Han. And, I think for a lot of us, we see true parents from they're a very public figure, right? They're very global. They've done so many speaking tours. They went to all these countries. They know all these people, whatever. And so she's kind of like a mother to so many people. But I was thinking like, yeah, but I don't really feel like she's a mother to me. Like, I think some people feel that true parents are their own parents, right? But I never felt that way. And then I went to Alaska in 2022 for an Ocean Challenge fishing program. And God gave me a lot of, I realized a lot during this time about my relationship with God, but also with true parents. And, Mother Moon, she's like far, far miles and miles away, right? Like my own mom, she cooks me food. She always asks me, "Did you eat? Like, what are you doing today? What's your schedule?" This is like my relationship with my mom, right? And yeah, but my relationship is not like that, right, with mother. Well, of course it's not, because she's not physically here with me. And I realized that, like that's okay. Like it's okay that my relationship with her is not like my relationship with my mom. Masako-san. Like that's okay. And I looked up what does it mean to be a mother, because I was curious. And mother means a woman figure who nurtures and raises. And as I look back on my life, especially in the past, I'm only 25, I'm not that old, but like as I look back in the past 7 years, I can really say that she raised Mother Moon, Hakjahan, Holy Mother Han. She really raised me in my life, my spiritual life. Like if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have this relationship with God that I have right now. Like if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have all these things that I really value in my life, right? Like my faith, my community, my husband, my family, purpose. And, so I came to realize like she's really a mother also to me, like my own mom, my own mother. And, as I was preparing, I'm going to go into this last portion. I'm almost done. But as I was preparing, I was finding all these pictures, right? And I was like, oh, I have to like go back through years and years ago. And when I was scrolling through, I couldn't help but feel gratitude. Like, yeah, like I felt so grateful. Like I received so many blessings in my life. I realized all these things in my life. I got to experience so many different experiences, and I got to understand God on a deeper level than ever before, And so as I was looking at this, I just felt so much love. Like I was like, oh, like there's so much love in my life because of Heavenly Parent, of course, but also because of Mother and because of true parents. And, when you feel like an immense gratitude, when you feel immense love, you feel really grateful, right? Like, oh, like I'm so grateful for this and for that. And a natural response to that is, oh, I want to do something. I want to give back. I want to do something for my parents, right? I receive all this love from true parents, all this love from Heavenly Parent. I want to do something. And that heart, I realized and also learning about it, that's what it means to have a filial heart. And yeah, I mentioned earlier, like, oh, I don't know, what is attendance? Like, what does that mean? Like, what do I have to do? Like, and, but I think attendance and having a filial heart is closely tied together. Like, if you have a filial heart towards your parents, like, you want to attend them. And even just this heart of, I want to support, I want to help. And so, okay. And so, yeah. So why am I giving this sermon? Why am I giving this testimony? Is because I have a heart of, like, I feel like this is all I can do right now, you know? Like, I can't go to Korea. I can't, like, I don't know, like, come up with a new law written in Korea. You know, I can't do so much, but I felt like, oh, at least I can give this sermon. At least I can give this testimony. And yeah. So this whole thing, this whole sermon, this whole testimony was about how Mother has impacted my life. But actually, Mother has also impacted the world, like so many millions of people. And so I'm just going to very briefly go through this because there's a lot of pictures. So, you know, Mother has met with President Gorbachev from the Soviet Union. Her parents have met with them. They've built relationship with the Korean leader at the time, Kim Jong-un, I believe. And, you know, her parents have established Sunmun University. This is an education, highly, what is the word? An education center institution in Korea. They've developed the arts. They've created Next Gen Mission, or GPA. Mother's spoken at the World Summit. You know, there's this interfaith initiatives, there's the blessing, there's Women of Peace and WFWP. She's given the blessing to millions of people in South Africa, but also around the world. And, you know, your parents have done so many different things in their life in just, 80 years? Less than 80 years. And, you know, this is just a fraction of what the impact that your parents have had in the world. And I'm only showing these pictures because I wanted to make the point that they've done so much for this world. And, you know, when I first saw this picture, World Summit 2020, I was like kind of blown away. I was like, like there's so many leaders, there's so many people from different political figures, from different countries, from different nations, from different parties. It doesn't matter who, but they all came together so that they could work towards peace. And then she was able to bring all these people together. And it really hit me. I was like, oh my God, she's working with people of such a high, I guess, level, like a high position in the world. And so when I saw this picture, I was like, oh my gosh, like even the United Nations, like they can bring people together, you know, but the people who are there just have to be there because it's part of their, you know, agreement or their policy. But the people who are here, like the World Summit, like they want to be there because of what your parents are teaching. They want to be there because they want to build a world of peace in substance. And, you know, one final thing is this is the Chonil Sanctum, the temple that was created, established, and there was an opening ceremony this year on April 13th. And yeah, also for about 2 years or so before, because there's a lot, our leaders were talking about this. And I was like, why do we need a temple? Like, your parents are here, God is here. What's the point of this, right? And, you know, Mother spoke just recently, a couple months ago, before the detainment, and she was talking about, like, she built this so that she felt, oh, God needs a home on this earth. God needs a place where, Heavenly Parent needs a place where he and she can dwell in a physical building. And so this Chonil Sanctum, that's what this is, this temple. And so also Ohio Family Church is, you know, your parents you are a direct result of your parents' effort in this world, is this church, this community. This community is a direct result of your parents' work on this earth. Yes, Aju. And I couldn't find just one picture of everyone, so I had to use Instagram and find a couple. So Mother said on December 1st, 2025, in front of the Korean prosecutors in the courtroom, she said, I have never been interested in politics in this nation. Sorry, there's a typo. Not once in my whole life. My mission has been for the sake of human peace, for one human family, and for guiding all people who attend the Heavenly Parent to become true families, receive Heavenly Parent's love, and ultimately enter the kingdom of heaven. And, you know, I chose this quote because this was just like 6 days ago that she said this. And even though she's detained in a cell unjustly, she's still proclaiming, you know, this is this is her mission. Her entire 83 years of her life has been for human peace, for one human family. And, I think we can see from even just what I shared today, that's all that she's been doing in her life. That's all that your parents have been doing, is to create one human family and a world of peace. And so, she says, I love you all. I miss you. Thank you. Like, this is ultimately, if you didn't gain anything from this testimony, just know that, Mother loves you. She has so much love for you, even from being in a miserable position in a cell that's cold and she's not given proper treatment. Like, she still thinks about us. She still prays for us. She still loves us and all the people in this world. And it's so hard to imagine, right? Like, how can you think of 8 billion people? Like, I'm not. I don't think I ever will. But she is, right? She's thinking of everyone and on such a world level. And yeah, I really, just want to say that she has so much love and she has so much hope. And she's also just really, I think, grateful for us too. So, yes, thank you.